MovieWeb.com.
So, with this movie, why do you think this angel is obsessed with wearing your skin in particular?
I don't actually feel that the two are mutually exclusive. I think they are the same. I feel like whatever this entity is that's controlling these three different beings are actually just aspects of itself. So everyone's gonna have a different theory on this, by the way. But you know, for me at least, I felt like the puppeteer is also, in this case, the puppet, and for this film. So that I think is wildly interesting. And why someone would why some being would subject themselves to this. So yeah, I don't feel like they're any different at all.
I was wondering, do you think there's a slight amount of hubris to make a sort of celestial being his last three lives or in the creative part of the industry?
Yeah, I always kind of felt like each entity that he created were creators of some kind. You know, creators with a responsibility to their creation. And yeah, I feel like there's an enormous amount of hubris, particularly in part two. I mean, that's exactly what derails that character. Is in each section there's something that kind of takes the character off course and forces him to retreat from whatever world that he's created. In part two, what I loved about that one was himself. He actually destroyed it himself, and he essentially blew it. His own hubris and arrogance, you know, and ambition is what destroyed the world for him.
Well, he, at the end of this, we learned that there was 87 other incarnations of this being.
Yeah.
And it's kind of set up so that the audience picks what those 87 beings are.
Yeah.
That's what John August said. Did you ever put any thought into who those other 87 people were?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely did. It's kind of mind-boggling to think about. You know, the options there are endless. So yeah, it was fun to think about. You know, sometimes when I had a little downtime, which wasn't much on a movie like this, but I would think about, well, what else could you have done? I mean, there's so many. So it would have been interesting for me to see some of those. I would have loved to have seen those.
Who did you come up with in your mind for that?
For the other ones, you mean?
Yeah.
You know, they were just always creators. You know, I feel like the characters, at heart, his purpose was to be near people, was actually for companionship. So it always involved Melissa's character, and then the S character or Hope's character, Sarah. No, she has all these different names, but would always kind of intervene. So I mean, I imagine that they always involved those two, just in different ways. Who knows? I just love that this character saw love in a different way than other people do too. I feel like his love for M, or Melissa McCarthy's character, is born of something different. Like, it's not necessarily shackled to romantic love or physical love or anything like that. It was just being near her. It felt like he just wanted to be near her.
Well, I noticed that the three characters are very similar looking, but there's really subtle differences.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't tell, but are you wearing any prosthetic makeup?
No, nothing, no. This movie had, you know, didn't have the resources for that sort of thing, and we didn't want to do that anyway. I mean, in fact, the biggest challenge about a movie like this is to not be too indulgent with the different characters. Is, in fact, they are just several aspects of one being. So we were excited to kind of make them have subtle differences as opposed to really vast.
Well, how has your perception of the movie changed from reading the script to actually seeing it done?
Oh, it's a wholly different thing. I mean, you know, if you were to read the script, the second act is in fact very kind of loose. It's not even a script really. It's just general ideas. But yeah, so seeing the final product is really quite remarkable. I mean, particularly John. I mean, what he put into this is pretty amazing. I mean, given the very limited budget that he had, he really kind of made something, I think, that looks so polished and so beautiful, and it looks as mainstream as any other movie, but it happened to be a very small shoot with a small budget.
Now, I know Melissa's character is based on a real, on herself.
Yeah.
Why do you think that was important to have that in this movie, to have real characters kind of intertwined with this fake reality?
Well, I think for the reality television part, it's important because it has to feel real, you know, and it has to feel. The biggest challenge about shooting a reality television show is that you can see script in reality television. I don't know what it is, but something that's inherent to that style. Shooting video, I don't know. I actually don't have the answers, but you see dialogue. So in order to do it, you had to shoot it like a reality television show, and you had to perform it like a reality television show. And as much as that, you have to make that script invisible, and you have to just improvise, and you just have to be in the moment, and you have to have an objective as opposed to a you know, a real like congruent kind of outline as to, you know, what happens in the scene. So it was real. I mean, the reality television stuff was just that. I mean, you know, Melissa's playing Melissa, and you know, I'm playing John. So I mean, it was a challenge, and you know, to be perfectly frank, it was a mind fuck in a way. I mean, it was a very strange thing to go through.